You've got four besties, one night of freedom, and a scavenger hunt that somehow involves a fake club, a missing person, and a cooler full of plot holes. This week, we're crashing the sleepover for my birthday with special guests, singer, dancer, actress, and content creator Gabi Whiting.
Welcome to the No More Late Fees podcast. I'm Jackie.
And I'm Danielle, and we're just two best friends and ex-Blockbuster employees rewatching some of the best and worst movies from the late 90s and early 2000s. This week, we're celebrating my B-Day, and we know how I am. Uh, with the 2004 teen comedy Sleepover, a movie that is both aggressively Y2K and weirdly unhinged. And guess what? I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I love this movie. I don't care what you guys have to say. We're going through this, and I love it. Did I mention I love it? But before we dive in, let's get into some housekeeping. If you love the podcast and you want to support us, here's just a few ways that you can.
You can buy us a virtual cup of coffee on coffee.com. Every contribution helps to keep the Blockbuster vibes alive, and you can rent the theater for $50, and you can choose any movie in our time frame that we have not already done. So visit us at ko-fi.com/no more late fees.
And if you want more hot takes, deep dives, and behind the scenes fun, make sure to join our Patreon for exclusive bonus episodes and perks. Just head to patreon.com/no more late fees.
Looking for nostalgic merch to add to your collection? Check out our Amazon store for curated picks inspired by the 90s and 2000s. Just head to amazon.com/shop/no more late fees podcast.
And Jackie, we're not alone. We're joined today by the incredibly talented Gabi Whiting, who's bringing her performer point of view to help us break down the dance scenes, fashion choices, and the chaos that is Sleepover. Welcome, Gabi, and thank you for wearing your pajamas.
Yes.
If you guys aren't seeing us, we are all wearing our PJs. It is a sleepover for real.
It is a real sleepover. Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here and talk about this incredible movie.
I needed backup, you see, Gabi. I needed backup because Jackie, I knew she never saw the movie, and I knew it wasn't. She may surprise me, but I doubt it.
I refrained. I text messaged you a couple of times last night, but not a whole lot.
It certainly is a different watch as an adult. I was like, this isn't the same movie. It's not.
Well, if you want to learn more about Gabi, make sure to check out this week's bonus episode where we name our favorite sleepover movies and hear Gabi's employee picks. But let's roll into this. Jackie, what is Sleepover about?
I feel like it was written by a 14-year-old for 14-year-olds and Danielle.
The writer wrote Vegas Vacation.
Oh, I do love Vegas Vacation.
Yeah, apologize. Put some respect on that woman's name. And Little Black Book with Brittany Murphy. She wrote that as well.
I didn't care for that one. Anywho. On the last day of middle school, four 14-year-old girls, Julie, Hannah, Farah, and Yancy, embark on an all-night scavenger hunt to win the coveted Cool Table in high school, all while dodging parents, creepy boys, and wild plot twists. It stars Alexa Vega, Sarah Paxton, Scout Taylor Compton, Mika Borum, Brie Larson, Steve Carell, and Jane Lynch. It was directed by Joe Nussbaum. It was written by Elisa Bell, and you can currently watch it on Prime, Tubi, or Pluto. But before we start, let's get into our ratings rewind.
So, you know the drill. Before we get into the movie, we will reveal the rating our Y2K versions of ourselves would give. Then at the end, we'll see if our current selves agree with our initial rating. Our scale consists of would buy it again.
The best would play on repeat.
5-day rental.
Would watch again.
2-day rental.
Okay, but nothing to write home about.
And same-day rental.
Go eat your lunch by the dumpsters because this is trash.
All right, Gabi, we'll start with you with our rating scale. What would your Y2K, your younger self, rate this movie?
Yes, and you said the top was 5, right?
The top is would buy it, like you owned it.
Would buy it. Yes.
That's what I want
Yeah,
to hear.
I would buy it. Yes, I loved this movie. Like I had it. I owned it. Like I would watch it all the time, and it seemed at the time very realistic. Like I don't remember it being like anything crazy. I was like, this is a normal middle school experience. So yeah.
Jackie?
I don't know her.
Yes, you never saw this classic.
Never saw it.
Okay, well, that we're starting
Danielle?
off. Yes. Oh, girl. I've been on that, okay? On the shelf. It's a would buy. Now, if we want to talk about mentally where I was in 2004, when I think about it, so when I was in college, because I was an old bitch when I saw this, I should not have been in this theater. That's fine. I would go to the movies whenever in my whole life, every time I just need a break. It's just like my safe space. And I know during that time I was going through a lot. And once I saw the commercial for this, I was like, yeah, that's
Add
me.
it to the list.
And I sat in that theater with my popcorn and I ate that shit up. Loved it. And so one of the summers, like that summer I came home, worked at Blockbuster, I bought it. Not ashamed.
Danielle, you would be proud. I made myself popcorn last night to get in the mood and sit down and watch this movie.
It's a lot. I know. I know what's wrong with it. So I'm not absolutely delusional, but the fact that when I went to Prime to hit play, it said, "Do you want to start from the beginning?" Because a bitch has watched it so many already.
Oh my gosh. That's so funny.
I had just been done with it. So
I thought you were
was-
going to say it was free because that's what I was shocked at. I was like, oh, I don't even have to pay for this. It's just free with ads. Great.
Well, tell us about the box office of this glorious piece of
this global
film.
hit.
Yes.
Well, see, sometimes people don't get things when it comes out. And that's okay.
Did they ever?
They did. They did. The movie had a budget of $10 million and made $10 million. I'm not mad at it. It made its money back.
It made its money. It made its money back. And I didn't even realize this was in theaters. If I knew this was in theaters, I would have been in there. And so like there probably were a lot of other kids that didn't know that too. So it probably could have done better.
It's but at first I was like, how did people not know? But it was such a competitive time and there were so many teen movies out at that time. So
totally. That was like the year of Mean Girls and stuff.
Yeah.
Too,
I could see how it was under the radar. So, as I said, it was released theatrically in July. And so it was like right after 4th of July, it's like July 9th. And it was both a box office and critical failure upon its release, but has since become a cult classic amongst fans. So, like I said, took a little while to catch on.
It who knows why. It has everything that like I feel like a rom-com, a great teen rom-com needs.
Exactly.
So
pink case, hot guy, weird
Evan Peters.
shenanigans. Right.
Jane,
What?
I was gonna say Jane Lynch, and I'm like that. No one's going to the theater to see Jane Lynch.
No. At that time, I don't think anyone even knew who she was.
No, because Glee hadn't come out, I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think because I looked up Steve, I was like, is this Steve Carell's first movie? Because why is he taking this role? And this was even before 40-Year-Old Virgin, which Jane Lynch was also in. But he had done stuff before, but I feel like this was one of his like stepping stone.
Wait till we get to cast and crew because that shit is wild.
Well,
yes.
the box office. So Sleepover came in at number 8.
It was in the top 10, baby. Keep trying to talk about my girl. She was in the top 10.
7 was Dodgeball, which had been in the theater for 22 days. White Chicks, which had been in the theater for 17.
Those are iconic movies.
Yeah.
That had been in for 15. Fahrenheit 9/11, 17 days. King Arthur, 3 days. Anchorman, it premiered that weekend as well. And then Spider-Man 2 had been released for 10 days.
Damn, we've covered every one of those movies except King Arthur, right?
And Fahrenheit
And Fahrenheit
9/11.
9/11.
Yeah. Wow,
But
we're
yeah,
plowing through 2004, it feels like.
the competition was thick.
The
So
competition was thick, and even though even if it made it on that list, I feel like that's an accomplishment.
yeah.
Yeah, on the same list as Spider-Man 2, Sleepover.
Yeah, so our boy Lil Raj, aka Roger Ebert, he pissing me off. He gave the film 1 star and titled his review Sleepover is one big snore of a comedy. Okay. He also stated Sleepover, a lame and labored comedy, doesn't recycle this plot. The blonde gets dumped by the boyfriend, but works more as a series of riffs on the underlying themes.
This
Whatever,
sounds like
Roger.
someone that doesn't. It's like when you give an old man a cartoon to watch, and he's like, this doesn't make sense." I'm like, "Because it's not for you." Like I'm like, "What about this movie was boring?" I mean, it's a lot of things. I wouldn't say it's boring. I would say there's a
Yes,
lot.
I would agree to that. Ken literally said, there are so many things happening so quickly.
I kept thinking about what Ken's commentary was going to be on this movie.
I was leaning towards he would probably be more favorable than I would be, but we'll get into that.
I didn't think he would because this is not like his typical rom-com where it makes sense. So I get it.
Yeah. Well, before we get into the cast and crew, let's hear a message from our pod pals.
When you need a sister or two to chat with about your favorite movies and shows,
come find us at Sisflix Podcast.
hi, I'm Paola.
And I'm Naja.
We're two sisters and designers who love to talk through the movie. Listen in as we critique and discuss beloved chick flicks, their plots, their aesthetics, and the messaging behind every scene.
What are our favorite rom-coms communicating about politics, feminism, and culture? What do the production design and costume design tell us about a story? And which sister will be sent to horny jail for lusting over the romantic leads?
Join us for our bi-weekly in-depth movie recaps, and let's talk through the chick flicks we hate to love, the tropes we love to hate, and all the aesthetic choices in between.
All right, let's talk about cast and crew because when you look at who's in this movie, yes, everyone like maybe at the time they weren't big, but they became very big. It's like a lot of it's like the who's who of actors at this point.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the delusion I feel of the casting directors, or not the casting directors, the casting directors did what they had to do. They found really good talent, but the producers and the people behind the movie were insane because when we start going through the names that were considered for this movie, they had to be fucking kidding me.
Oh no,
To,
who were some of them?
to start off, Lindsay Lohan and Michelle Trachtenberg were so Lindsay was considered for the role to play Julie, and Michelle Trachtenberg turned down the role of Julie.
Hadn't she just done Eurotrip?
Probably, but also the two of them look. I don't know. Alexa did a really good job because this is a tween movie. They're going from middle school to high school. There's no way in hell in 2004 Mean Girls Lindsay Lohan was going to be like making sense in this movie.
No, and also I feel like Michelle Trachtenberg, she was on Gossip Girl. I'm not sure. That Gossip Girl probably came a little bit later, but yeah, like I feel like that also does not make a ton of sense.
No, because Alexa Vega was, I think she turned 16 during this movie, so she was young, you know.
Yeah, she wasn't, and she had done Spy Kids. Like I feel like she was labeled as like kids, like was in her kind of like brand.
So Michelle had done Eurotrip in 2004. I wonder if she turned it down for Ice Princess because that was 2005.
That I mean, that would make sense. That's fair.
Or just she read the script.
Or that too. Fair.
There weren't a lot of notes and fun facts for this movie as like there's a lot of cast and crew stuff. So I was literally reading interviews and watching interviews. And one thing I can say is our girl Alexa Vega was a hater.
Why?
She I don't know. It was like
she said everyone was mean.
Right, but in her interviews, she kept bringing up Lindsay Lohan and Hilary Duff and how like
Oh.
how she wanted to separate herself from that group of girls and how it was almost like I'm classy and they're trashy, vibes. Just talking about how
Hilary
like
Duff?
well, she
Yeah,
was
Hillary was in the Aaron Carter, Lindsay Lohan
Oh.
trifecta. But also, isn't you talking about them putting you maybe kind of on the same level as them because you're still talking about
Yeah.
them and like grouping yourself with them?
yeah, I don't know if like a lot of people kept asking questions, but
Mhm.
the vibe that I got from her interviews is that she was trying to show maturity, but also like I'm not like them, right?
Mm.
It was almost like I'm not like most girls kind of thing because she also talked about like I'm a tomboy and I would just like hanging
Oh,
out with the boys and very like male centric
pick
talking
me kind
points.
of like,
Yeah.
yeah,
But
Yeah.
she
got
was
it.
so young and
Oh.
impressionable, so I can't even imagine. But I just found it interesting that almost every interview that I was reading, she had brought up that she really was hoping that the trend of teen movies were going to end. She was hoping that, like, she would like this movie because it wasn't like people were dressing scandalous and, instead of like real, normal teen girls. It was, I'm like,
Girl,
I don't
bye.
feel like this is from you. You're repeating or regurgitating things that I think other adults in your life must be saying. Because what the
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Because even in that era, I feel like eighth grade or like teen girls were also kind of dressing scant. Like the fashion statements were very like itty bitty crop tops. It's not like real teens were not doing that. It was
right,
just yeah, like you said, like the narrative of what probably global teens parents around America wanted.
right. So that was like that sucks.
Mhm.
But yes, like you said, Jackie, she actually, I guess in one of her interviews, she spoke about not having, much later, not having a good time on this set, that a lot of the girls were mean to her. And
Mm.
I think when you get all, like, I hate the narrative that a bunch of girls together are going to be mean, but I
Mm.
could just like watching her interviews and knowing at the time, if you look at all the girls in this movie, she was the biggest star. She had just come off of like how many three Spy Kids movies.
Yeah.
All the interviews were centered around her. So I can imagine that either maybe they were just like jealous or maybe she had a big head, but I could see the
Mm.
clashing with that.
Yeah. Yeah. It could, I mean, both could probably be true, you
Right.
know? Yeah.
But I do think that they had fun times at times because you see them, they had like a sleepover. And I don't know if Alexa was the one who hosted it, but because I think they did some stuff at the Universal lot and they went to Universal,
Mm.
she got a hotel at the Hilton, I think, and they had like a sleepover with just the girls, which I'm
Oh,
like, that
that's
sounds like
cute.
fun.
Yeah, it's probably good like cast bonding.
Yeah. All right. What else do we got with cast and crew, Jackie?
Daryl Sabara.
Daryl Sabra.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Daryl Sabra and Frankie Muniz were considered for the role of Ren. He walked onto the screen and I said, Mimi Siku's here.
I thought
Mimi,
that would be
yes.
that would be the only thing that kept you grounded in this movie.
He
I,
was
I,
great in it.
the only enjoyable part because he knew how to play dumb without doing whatever Evan Peters was doing.
Yeah,
Like
that was his like shtick. Yeah.
he was in a completely different movie than everyone else.
Yeah,
Like
he was on another planet
it
for
was
sure.
bizarre.
It
But
was-
like okay, I've never seen a Spy Kids movie. Correct me if I'm wrong. Daryl played the younger
He's
brother.
older.
He played the little
He's
brother
younger than she's older than
Yeah.
him, so it would have been really weird.
and brother and sister and like this whole
Yeah.
franchise and trying to
Yeah.
like yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
And Frankie Muniz wouldn't have been believable either.
Oh,
No.
I feel like he was too big. He was like very big for that film, I fear.
That video that I saw your video and I've been seeing Jackie sent me some of that cruise of
Oh
all of
my
them being on the
God.
cruise. I was like, this is This is insane. And people got to pay to be on this cruise.
Pay to be, and so many of them. And I was like, how was this even, like, my mind is still blown. And I feel like I'm punching the air right now. I'm like, if I would have known, I don't know how I would have got there. We definitely couldn't have afforded it, but oh my
It
God.
was just like, okay, are we at a bar mitzvah? Like, what is happening here?
The games and stuff of like, it was insane.
Them all trying to rap to Eminem. I was like, no, everyone just stop what you're doing.
Just for context, for any listeners who don't know, who are not chronically online like the three of us, there is a video going around, different clips of this video of some sort of cruise that happened. And there's like a ton of young 2000s stars, from Frankie Muniz. There's Eric Van Dutton is on there.
Yeah.
I even saw the guy Tyler from the Superman TV show, and also Teen Wolf.
Oh,
he was on there. So there's just like the little brother from Lizzie McGuire. It's just like a shit ton of people, and yes, it very much gives bar mitzvah vibes.
Brittany Snow was there too.
Brittany Snow. It's a fever dream. It gives fever dream vibes.
It really is.
Crazy.
I feel like this must be a different timeline kind of vibes. Like, when something just all these years that video never came out, and now it's this year. Like,
now
it's just
it's a Mandela effect for sure. Yeah. I'm like,
So there is this guy, I don't know if you've ever seen him. He buys old VHSs at like yard sales and stuff, unlabeled, and then he'll like watch them. And he found one that was like Rashida Jones's birthday or something, and Tevin Campbell was playing, and he's like, I don't know how I got this. It was just like unlabeled, and I feel like I'm watching something I'm not supposed to, because it was like the top echelon of entertainment was there.
Wow.
And it's like this private party and stuff. It was crazy. I was like,
that's wild,
you, sir.
Look at you, sir. That's so wild.
Oh, man. Well, speaking of just unrealistic casting, apparently Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly were considered for the role of Sherman, who obviously was played by Steve Carell. Where, who, when, what, why?
I will say, as much as I hate Will Ferrell, I think he could have done this role with a little bit more humor and levity instead of like as serious as Steve was taking it.
Yeah. He does go on record to say he hated doing this movie.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
He wants it to go away in his mind. So that could be why it's not looking good.
Yeah. Well,
That is so funny. I had no idea.
Okay, also, if we're on the topic of Sherman, here are some more people that were considered for Sherman. Jim Carrey.
Okay, there's no way they could have.
Ben Stiller. Patton Oswalt, Jeremy Piven, Brendan Fraser, Rob Schneider, Jason Bateman, Bryan Cranston, Zach Braff, Adam Sandler, Gilbert Gottfried, Brian Callen, and Kevin James. They'll half this list plausible. The other half out of your fucking mind.
Patton Oswalt would have made this movie 100 times better.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I could have seen Ben Stiller as that, because he was that camp counselor in that Fat Camp movie.
Yeah.
I feel like that could have been like a nice crossover. Jim Carrey, I just don't, there's no way he would have even done it.
Jim Carrey and Ben Stiller. Now, if this movie had come out when Adam Sandler's kids were tweens, he might have done something like that.
Yeah.
But no, there's no way. Not the height of their careers.
No, not the height of their careers.
Not even the slightest.
And for the father's role, Jay, John Goodman, Antonio Banderas, Jason Alexander, Will Sasso, Drew Carey, Jerry Seinfeld, Nathan Lane, Bill Paxton, Frank Calindo, Wayne Knight, and Tony Shalhoub were considered.
Who was going to consider, like, who went from, like, Nathan Lane to, like, that's crazy.
Will Sasso, yes, I would have believed it. Jason Alexander, like, no, there's no way. Like, no one on this list makes any effing sense. And like, why do they have these names from, like, did they just look at the Spy Kids and say, let's try to get the whole cast?
Yes, and Spy Kids also notoriously had a crazy cast as well. Like,
Yeah.
like just they must have been they all must have had the same friends, because I'm like, why was Antonio Banderas in this and like all of these other people that are
Well, it was all Robert Rodriguez. Like, they all
That's fair.
loved him. That's why they were
That
in
makes
Spy
sense.
Kids. But why would you think they would want to be in this movie?
I would have enjoyed Tony Shalhoub as the dad.
True, because I also think there was erasure of Alexa being a Latina girl. I mean, that's not to say that there are Latino people that present white or that are racially white, but I know those two are not Latinos in any way. So
Jane Lynch and Mr. Goldberg.
yeah,
I'm sorry, I don't even know his real name. I just know he's the dad on the
Oh.
Goldbergs.
Well, now that you brought up his name, I do want to talk about. So one thing that I was like, okay, when we talk about before we even get into this movie, I want to talk about some of the drama that is some of the cast members.
Oh,
So
gosh.
now that like I'm rewatching it and knowing that there was so much drama behind the scenes on the Goldbergs with Jeff Garlin,
Yeah.
the actor Jeff Garlin. So he was on the Goldbergs as the dad, and towards the end of the season they ended up having to write him out. So the Goldbergs is like an autobiographical show a little bit, and so the dad does eventually die in real life, but not till much later, not in during the time frame they were doing this show. But things had gotten so bad with that relationship that they ended up having to write him out. So there was investigations happening on the set about his behavior of just being like very toxic and verbally abusive, but also like inappropriate touching, sexual harassment kind of vibes going on. And there's people who said that this is not the first set that this has happened with him. And it's the main girl from Girl Meets World. She was a reoccurring character on the Goldbergs, and she actually reported that she saw him being inappropriate with someone else, a younger, I feel like it was a younger female cast member or guest star. And so she reported it, and she believes that she got fired because of her reporting it. So she had spoke out about that first, and then like they finally did something about it probably a few years later, which is funny because I feel like she's felt the need to speak out about it because of how toxic the Girl Meets World set was and the rumors that are on from that set. So now I'm thinking, okay, if I don't know who she saw, if it was an adult or a younger female. So I went and looked at his lineup, and the amount of children's movies that he has been involved in makes me very uncomfortable now. And thinking about him being on set with all those girls and boys and whatnot I had chills just thinking about it. And I'm not accusing him of anything. I'm just doing the math. And
Well, the only thing that I can hope is that most of the movie, he never really interacts with the girl. Like, very seldom does he even appear in scenes with the girls.
right.
It's mostly just with the brother or the mom. So hopefully it was very limited what interaction he had on set.
I mean, yeah, but on set, you just never know. So,
Yeah.
and then if you really want to get an idea of like this man's mindset, go watch the roast of Bob Saget and him talking. And one of the allegations that was made against him was that one of the people on set said that he told them to come on set with nothing but their panties on. So it wasn't just like inappropriate touching, it was verbal harassment as well. So
Yikes. Yeah.
there's that. The other odd thing, right after this movie happened, Scout Taylor Compton, I don't know if you guys remember this. She played Farrah. She apparently was reported missing in 2005. And I remember like that was all over the news and people were trying to find her. And so there was like widespread concern. before she was found safe. Apparently, what they said is that she had run away to grieve a family member in privacy. But I think what was happening at the time is that she was having issues with her parents, like with her wanting to be free of that. And I think she was dating someone who was a little bit older. So I remember that being very odd. And then the guy who played the pizza boy, Carlin
Uh-oh.
Jeffrey, has faced recent abuse allegations that have just surfaced on social media. I didn't dig into it to find out what it was.
Holy moly.
But
That's so
yeah,
scary.
there was a lot. And the other main things are just things that happen in the movie, which is the age gap between Sean Ferris and Alexa Vega, and then the fat phobia, which we will get into. So I just
Yeah.
wanted to outline the things so you guys know, as much as I love this movie, I know that some shit is awry. So who else do we got?
Shia LaBeouf turned down the role of Steve.
Thank God.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I'm glad. I'm trying to think. It wasn't until Disturbia that I started to think that he was kind of cute. I never, like, he was younger than me, so I wasn't
Yeah.
checking for him, but I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. But we already know what
Yeah.
he's up to.
Hey, Danielle. Scout
Hmm.
Taylor Compton dyed her hair red for this film as there were too many blondes in the cast.
We've been saying this on the show for a long time that when it comes to Hollywood, and especially with white people, diversity is hair color.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. They're like, sorry, not enough. Yeah. It's so wild too, because I'm like, that's not the same thing.
No, it's not. So I made a video about this recently, and I was saying that in Josie and the Pussycats that Rachel Lee Cook had to wear a red wig because, they already had a blonde and a brunette. And people were like, well, Josie's always got red hair. I said, Hollywood will change hair color whenever they want. So no,
Yeah.
she didn't have to be redhead. And also there's a lot of redhead erasure sometimes when is you coming from a different medium. So don't give me
Right.
that.
No, 100%.
I literally text messaged Danielle last night as I was watching the movie. So much hair diversity.
So much hair diversity. That's so funny.
All right. Well, let's dive into the movie.
So the movie opens on the last day of 8th grade, and we meet Julie. She's just kind of not even awkward. She's just like shy, reserved, keeps to herself. She's very sweet.
It's her birthday to take chances.
Yeah.
I think.
And it's her birthday, so she's having her friends come over. She's allowed to invite 4 girls. And so it's her friend Hannah who is moving away over the summer. So she's kind of working through that disappointment. Farah, and then she can invite, she can invite 3 people. Hannah and Farah are coming. And then she invited her friend, I don't even remember.
Liz.
Thank you. I was going to say Sarah Paxton, but that's the actress's name. But Liz is too grown for sleepovers and wants to go to the high school dance instead. And so Julie sees this girl, Yancey, getting bullied for her weight. And
by Liz, your quote unquote friend who's trash.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And so
sorry, it's not Liz, it's Stacy. She's Stacy. Liz is Brie Larson.
Brie Larson.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry.
Got it. So she does Yancey a solid and invites her to her sleepover. Like, she's just a nice girl.
I feel like the better solid. So one of the things that now with grown eyes rewatching it, and I think even back then I was like, y'all fucked up because they know that Yancey has been bullied probably this whole time and they say nothing. They don't stick up. Even what is it? Yeah, even Hannah. Hannah, who's got a mouth on her, who's confident. They do not stop this bullying or at least stand up for Yancey. Because, like, they told Yancey, I see the diet pills aren't working, bitch.
Right.
We would have
That's
fought.
So out of pocket. So out of pocket. It's crazy. And they still want her approval too after all of that, which is so wild.
it's definitely insane that they're like not going in their own direction. They're
Yeah.
very much all trying to be popular. And Stacy wants to go to the high school dance. She has a boyfriend who that man who played her boyfriend in that movie,
College student.
he was on Young and the Restless. I know. I I know Thad, okay? Thad is his real name. I know Thad had to be at least not even early 20s, mid 20s at that
That's
point.
gross.
So I'm just like, I know from a casting standpoint, a lot of the times they try to get older people so they don't have to worry about filming with the laws, child labor laws.
Mm.
But what I don't understand is you guys try to say that, but then for some reason the girls are always young, but the
Yes.
boys aren't.
Right. That's
Like,
right. Interesting. And like, especially she's supposed to be playing an eighth grader. And it's
right.
like the whole conversation they have about like, you said when you graduated we'd hook up. I'm like, what is this master manipulation? Just like sicko, it's sick.
So oh, that man is 50 years old today. He's 50
Yikes.
years old. So that means he is a little bit like what, 8 or 9 years older than us, Jackie. And
Hold
so
on.
I'm going.
Let me look and see. Okay. Oh, it doesn't have. Let me ask Google how old Sarah Paxton is.
She's probably like late 30s.
I feel like Sarah Paxton was a little bit older than the girls. I'm not sure though. Jesus.
She is 37. She was born in 88.
I need a calculator.
That's 13. It's 13 years older than him.
That's crazy.
Right? Yeah.
Crazy. Not good. And that's the other thing. It's fine if you get a guy that kind of looks young, so whatever, but he doesn't. It reminds me of the show Never Have I Ever. I love that show, but the guy who plays Paxton is fucking 30 years old, and the girl who was playing the main girl was maybe 17 when they started.
That's
So,
crazy.
yeah, he's hot, but come on, Mindy. He's
Right.
30. Like, he a grown ass man.
Wild.
Ay, ay, ay. Anywho, sorry. So, yes, they act like assholes, but yes, they invite Yancy. She's so happy to be invited.
Yes.
I would have told him to go fuck off, but poor the whole episode will be hashtag justice for Yancy because
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, she goes through it.
So we find out that Julie's mom, played by Jane Lynch, is overbearing. She has a bunch of rules, no sneaking out, no breaking anything important. And what was the other one? Oh, keep the volume down because the neighbors complain.
Yeah.
Question. Does this rent-a-cop just patrol the entire town?
Okay. It's fine that you're around the neighborhood. Why are you trying
At
to
Old
police at
Navy.
the mall?
Well, this is my question too. Did this movie take place in Canada? Because she talks about moving to Vancouver. And so I'm like, are these like maybe like different sort of Canadian neighborhood policemen that we don't have over here? I have no idea.
I thought about that too, only because Steve at one point references grade school, and I think the only people I ever know who says grade school are Canadians, but I could be wrong. But no, this movie takes place in California. They filmed in California, so I'm really not sure what the thought process was.
That's
with
interesting. Yeah. Okay. Random.
this.
So we also meet Ren, Julie's older brother. He is kind of at a crossroads of life. He went to college and it wasn't working out, so he came back home. His mom has turned his bedroom into a craft yoga/storage room. He's kind of coming to terms with like what he wants to do, and he's kind of a stranger in his own house at this point. Boy is also dumb. Willing to do anything for a buck.
I was like, that's crazy that his parents changed his room so fast. Because, like, my mom kept my room as a shrine for a while.
Yes.
Like, my brother and sister were sharing a room just so that my room could stay the same.
Just in case
Wow.
Danielle came home, she needed a place to sleep.
Oh my gosh.
And Ren is played by Sam, I just looked up, Huntington.
Hutchinson.
Mimi Siku to some. He also was on Veronica Mars, very recognizable in kind of the teen tween scene during this time. And then we also meet Julie's dad, who is going to watch the girls because mom's going out. Julie thinks mom's going somewhere super lame because she's so like buttoned up. But we see her at the club later.
At the club, we're all fam.
And her dad, he didn't even have to say, this is so sad. He didn't even have to say what he was installing. He walked in with that thing, and I was like, oh, he has an RO system he's about to install.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh my gosh.
This is what it's like being a grown-up, is you know how to get better water.
I guess I haven't reached that point of adulthood.
Well,
because
you don't,
I mean,
Either.
you don't live with Ken, and
yeah, it's
and
true.
you don't have 6 fish tanks in the house that all need like filtered water.
Very valid points.
So Mama goes out. And the crazy thing is she's like, hey, you know that trip to Hawaii? You fuck up, you're not going.
Yeah,
Going to
that was
grandma's.
yeah. The stakes are high. The
And
stakes
it's
are really high.
real high.
For someone who doesn't seem like they get in trouble a lot. Like, why were those
Yes.
rules so tight?
You know what it is? She don't say it, but every friend, like every kid has a friend at some point in their life that their parents are like, I don't like that kid because
Yeah.
I know that they be doing shit. And I think that's Hannah. But the mom doesn't say it. So I don't think she's worried about Julie. I think she's worried about Hannah's influence and Stacy's influence.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
You know,
fair.
Stacy's fast ass is out here in these streets.
Yeah.
Fair.
So I think that's what the concern is. But also it's very interesting because this movie shows a parent kind of grieving and coming to realization that their child is now little child version of themselves is gone.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of parents go through that, like not wanting to let go. Some parents are better at it and some are not. So she was not.
So then we see a little montage of basic sleepover fare, Spice Girls dress up, nail painting.
I thought the Spice Girls was very weird for this time period. Like, yes, I know we all love the Spice Girls, but like Britney Spears would have made a lot more sense
They couldn't afford
in
the rights to that
2004.
movie or that
That's
song.
true. Yeah. Yeah, that
I
is
mean,
really true.
Spice Girls, I feel like would have been expensive rights as well. I don't know. That's the one thing, even when I remember in real time when I was watching it, just thinking that was weird because they're so much younger than us.
Yeah.
They were very little when the Spice Girls came out.
Danielle, time out real fast. I would just like to say justice for Jamie because there is a Lala Teletubby on the bed behind you that I just noticed.
All I could think of when the mom brought out the ladybug plates and she's like, your birthday needs to have a theme. You used to always have a theme. I just thought about Jackie throwing her Teletubbies birthday party for her 16th birthday.
There's nothing wrong with a good theme.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I thought I was super cool, like bringing like this funny, weird kid show in as my 16th birthday theme. But there is
That is-
also, everyone showed up really late. So there is also a picture of me like pretending to be really upset. And I have a party hat on in front of like the table that's decorated. And I'm just like hanging my head. I'll have to find
Oh
it.
my gosh, that's hilarious. That's so funny.
Anyway, sorry. I just had to point out that you have a Teletubby behind you.
This is not my real room. I just want to
I'm
make
just
that
saying.
clear.
So pizzas are ordered. We're doing all the things. We already get a noise complaint from the neighbor. So this is where we see Steve Carell show up. It's like his second week on the job because the other guy left, and he is no nonsense.
He's so weird. And then when he took her Coke and drank it and swished it around, I was like, I would have called my dad immediately. I would have,
Immediately.
because you are stranger danger vibes right
Yeah.
now. Like, so weird.
Ken did
Uh,
not care for that scene.
and then, like, while all this is happening, we see Liz have that altercation with that grown-ass man
So,
where
go ahead. Sorry.
no, he has promised to take her to the dance after
Yes.
she leaves middle school. He says you promised to hook up, and instead of he's like wearing a yellow tank top. He's not
Yeah.
trying to go to this dance, and so she fights him off literally as he
Yeah.
tries to like get it on with her, and then he leaves her, and she so quickly turns it around because he like threatens and says you're never gonna make it now.
Mhm.
Essentially, he's gonna pretty much talk shit and ruin her reputation. And so she calls her friend Liz, who is also having a party as well, and says that she has a new plan. So now she's putting something on to entertain herself and not even go into the fact that she has just been assaulted and left.
Yeah.
But I also have
Seriously.
a question. This man drives his Nissan Z into a very well-lit park, very manicured lawn, and parks it in the middle. Looks like stadium lighting, just bright as day. To then take advantage of this girl, this middle school girl.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
so I've always wondered like what the age of his character is because why are you talking to a middle schooler? Fucking weird.
Well,
But
she's.
then
Go ahead, sorry.
but she says he's on the JV football team, so
Mhm.
you know he's got to be at least a sophomore or a freshman, but God, freshman, unbelievable at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Well, he's driving, so
He's got to be at least 16.
yeah.
Yeah, I like how they all make all excuses for like why they can each drive. Like one of them's
Yes.
like, "Oh, she got held back," or like the other
Right.
one's like, "My dad said it for emergencies." Like I can. Like there's always like a reason as to why, because it's clearly that they shouldn't be driving.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But Yancey is the one that makes zero sense because when she says, okay, so we find out like they're on some sort of fake MySpace thing, which loved it. And they're playing all the stuff. And so here comes, why do I want to keep calling
Stacy.
her Liz? Here comes Stacy. She climbs up the trellis and climbs into the window like a pro, like she's been done this a million times. And she comes in and tells the girls they video chat Liz, who they are bedazzling thongs. Let me tell you something. I don't know what age I was before I knew what a thong was.
Oh my
Maybe when the
gosh.
thong song came out that it really hit me. But I might have known what it was, but there was no way I was wearing one.
That's so funny. I fear I was. I fear I got one on my 13th birthday.
Oh my
And I knew
God.
exactly. I fear I was the demographic for that one. That's why it seemed very realistic. I was like, this is what we do.
Maybe because the thongs weren't popular yet for our
Yeah.
age range, but we
That's true.
were. I don't know. I
As
wasn't
an
talking
elder
about
millennial.
we weren't talking about underwear with each other, but Jackie and
No.
I were also like, if we were looking at the spectrum, we were very much still little
Mm.
girls for a long time. I think like
We just didn't like we were never super boy crazy. Like we were more into watching indie movies and hanging out by
Mm.
ourselves because
we were nerds.
Yeah. or I was home
Or
playing
nerd
video
adjacent.
games.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense.
But yes, so they're bedazzling thongs, and now Stacy's like, okay, we're gonna do a scavenger hunt. Of course, now what's her
Julie.
face? Julie is freaking the fuck out. She's like, we're not leaving the house. Hannah's like, chill, my bruh. We're gonna figure it out. So then Stacy leaves. Liz is outside to pick him up because she's got her whip, which, by the way, in an interview, Brie Larson said she was super excited because she got to do her own stunts of driving. If you watch her
Mhm.
interviews, they're hilarious. She's so hyperactive when she's being interviewed, just like super bubbly, very energetic, very theater kid coded.
That's so funny.
It's just such a departure from the way that we experience her now. Obviously, because
Yeah.
she was a young girl, but it's pretty funny to watch some of those interviews.
Yeah, that's
Um,
super interesting. And it was like I literally just finished lessons in chemistry yesterday. So
oh, it's so
seeing
good.
that character and then going to this, I was like, I don't think that's the same person. Like, it can't be.
Gabby, do you think that she looks very different from
Yes.
her younger to now?
Yeah, I think it's like it's a drastic change, I think. Yeah.
I could never every time, I think it was 13 going on 30 when I first realized that that was her. And then
Yeah.
when somebody was like, when I saw that she was in Sleepover, it took me a long, I was like, that ain't her. That ain't
Yeah.
her. She
No,
don't look like it.
it's wild. It's wild.
And Evan looks different too. He looks different from this movie. And there's another movie he's in with Sean Ferris called Never Back Down that
Mm.
they play besties. And he looks very different in that one. I just like, I don't know if he just grew out of a baby face. I don't know what it is, but
Evan Peters was acting a lot with his face when he was younger too, because he was
Mhm.
on like Phil of the Future, that Disney Channel show, and he would do like a lot of that same like very quirky, weird face acting. And I feel like now a lot of things I see him in, he's very like somber.
Yeah.
It was wild,
Uh.
man.
So yeah, so Stacy's driving. They leave. I mean, Liz is driving. Stacy leaves. Which, by the way, the Stacy Liz relationship is very competitive. They're
Mhm.
friends, but you could tell. And even Brie Larson, when she was interviewed, she talks about it that Stacy is the number one and Liz is number two, and you could see that Liz is like always hoping for Stacy's downfall,
Mhm.
essentially, which is not wild, but so
Yeah.
now they've got to go figure out how to do this. One of the things on the
Did we talk
list,
about the scavenger hunt list?
yeah, the
Okay.
scavenger hunt list. One thing that they have to get is they have to make a date. Now, this is where I was like, okay, what dating app or website is this? There's no pictures. There's no verification that they're not like children. And
No,
they plan a date with some guy literally within 10 minutes for him to buy them a drink. They pretend she's a swimsuit model. Crazy. First of all, such a bad thing to be put in a children's movie.
Yes.
yes, especially when all of those websites were so popular, like chat roulette and all of that stuff. And even them saying like they made a conscious effort all the time to say like, but it's safe. Like, what does the check mark mean?
Yeah.
It means it's safe. I'm like, clearly it's not because there's some middle school girls like catfishing this dude. So like, how safe could it be?
Right. It was wild. So they have to get a picture at a nightclub, getting a cocktail with a man they meet on the internet. That's one. Two, they have to steal a decal from the the
Rent a
security
cop.
cop, rent a
Yeah.
cop's car. They need to get Steve's underwear, which is purposely put there for Julie. What was the, oh, they need,
The
what was the other,
mannequins, the dressing the mannequins.
they have to dress the mannequins at Old Navy with their clothes. And then later on, we find out the last thing because they're tied is that they have to get the crown
Mhm.
Mhm.
from the school dance.
Yeah.
I had a question now. Oh, no, I had a statement. I had one of those cameras. I'm pretty
I
sure I
remember.
still have it. And I definitely have a picture of you. I know exactly where it is. So when I get home, I will pull it out so we can use it in promo. But I definitely have a foot of you, and it's like on that weird strip.
I remember you having that camera. And I think Britney Spears had like she was one of the spokesperson
Hmm.
for that camera. I remember
Yeah.
the ad. Like I could literally see the ad in my head.
Yeah.
Oh, Brit, love you, girl.
So now Julie and her friends have to sneak out. So this is where she has to bribe her brother to kind of cover for her. Dad's been installing the RO system all evening. He's no closer to getting it installed. And then the girls all sneak out on the trellis. And so the first girl jumps and it's creaking. And then the next girl jumps and it's creaking. And Ken's just sitting there going, that's too many girls. There's too many girls on the trellis. It's going to fall down. And then like the third, and he goes, not all four girls. Like he was so concerned. And it didn't fall down until Julie gets stuck and they pull her down and pull it down with her.
Yeah.
But Ken was very concerned the entire scene.
I just feel like they could have so waited for the dad to go to the bathroom and walked right out of the door. Or I guess I'm so used to us living in Florida that we could have just gone in the garage and like nobody would have noticed anything, you know?
They have so many doors to that house. Like at the end, she just sneaks in another door and like, just go have your brother be like, hey dad, like my light bulb's not working or something in my bedroom. Have him go into the room and y'all just sneak out. Like, I feel like there were much easier ways than sneaking out via the trellis.
Yes. No, I agree. There were yes, especially because the dad was MIA like all the time.
Yeah. And the whole downstairs is just windows and glass doors. Like the dad can see every angle of the backyard.
And this is when Yancey's here for the win because she's like, I think I know a way to get a car. So I don't know where this car is stored. I'm guessing Yancey's house. Yes. But then the question is, where are her parents? So Yancey has known,
And at the end, Farrah's mom takes Yancey home. So like you could get there on foot last night, but not this morning.
That's bizarre.
Hey, she was just her and Farrah made a bond. I don't know.
It's fine.
But yes, that is something I've never thought of in all the years that I've watched this movie. But so Yancey is able to get in this car, and so now you have four people. I laugh because I, to this day, have it seared in my memory. When I lived in New York, I was in the meatpacking district, and I saw Gary Busey, and this big ass dude got in one of these small cars like this, and that is every time I see one of those cars, that's all I think about is him.
That's so funny.
Trying to get into that car.
It is a Nissan Hyper Mini electric car.
Well, she's driving it, but she only says, my dad says for emergency, Yancey, you ain't got no license or a permit.
Or permit. You're in 8th grade. Like,
Just because it's electric and it's small does not equate you driving through the city rolling with your homies.
It probably makes it more dangerous, actually. Like, if something hits you, that's going to hit way harder.
But you know what? Just like you were saying that it kept on the website, the dating website kept saying it's safe, it's safe. Do you notice the amount of times Yancey said, oh, the car is like indestructible?
Oh,
so another way that the writer keeps trying to get around. So this tells me that this bitch logically knew this shit was wrong.
Yes, yes. She knew where people were going to be like, wait.
So now they're riding in the car. And one of the weirdest things that Farrah is annoying. Like out of all the characters for me, she gets on my nerves. They are driving and next to them, again, grown ass men look over to them and wave. And Farrah's upset because she's so tight in the car, she can't wave at the man, the grown ass man. I don't like any. I think this movie told a lot of young kids that it's totally cool to be having relationships with grown-ass men.
Yes, no, 100%. There was that narrative a lot in the early 2000s. I feel like the age gap, just like normalizing it.
Well, if I really think about it, it was totally fine in the 90s too, because one of my favorite movies, My Dad, the Hero, with Katherine Heigl, she was like 13 and the guy in the movie was probably in college or something. It was wild.
Wow.
So we head to the club.
Yes.
So they get there, they see the other group of first is Old Navy. So we go to the mall because the mall's going to close, so we have to hit the mall first. They see the three girls, the other group, they have successfully swapped out their clothes, they're leaving. And then when they go into the store, first off, there's not
An
A
old Navy person.
19-year-old Old Navy associate that's going, I'm sorry, my girls, like you can't be climbing in the window display.
Right, right.
Yeah, but sometimes I will admit the Old Navy, they don't have people a lot walking the floor. They
Mhm.
have like a shit ton of people at the cashiers and somebody at the dressing rooms.
But
So I
everyone has headsets. You could be like, hey,
that's true.
Rhonda at the dressing rooms, can you go to the window display? Some girls are like taking apart the mannequins.
The like there's so many unbelievable things in this movie, but the part where they are now with the boy mannequins because the girls had locked the girl mannequins up so they could,
Mhm.
have an edge. Steve Carell now sees like they do like freeze because they don't want to get caught.
It's so silly. It's
It's
so
so
silly.
silly.
And it's like the oldest trope in the mannequin game. I feel like in Elf
Yes.
they did that. Like it's like always I get stuck in a mannequin thing and I have to like freeze. So
Yes.
silly.
So they get out of there, they get their picture. They've now locked Sherman in there, and they're headed on to the next adventure, which is
Yes.
is this now
Club.
the club?
The
Yeah.
club. So we see the girls, the first group of girls go in. The second group, they try to be like, we're with them, like we need to get in. And the bouncer, who I've seen in a million things, and apparently he's a wrestler, which is
Oh.
probably how I recognize him. He's like, nah, you're not getting in. I don't even remember how they end up getting in.
Okay, so
I don't either.
they go in the back end because they're just sitting there, and Hannah sees that. I guess it looks like there's some band performance because there's a ton of like stuff. So
Ah,
it Hannah and
Julie.
Julie, damn. Hannah and Julie get like in the box or whatever, and then they get out in the club while Farah and Yancey sit outside and wait for them. So they go inside the club, they're looking around, and they see their middle school teacher at the
Mhm.
bar, and they're like, oh shit. And then they realize that he is their date,
Yeah.
another oh shit. And so she's trying to take her scarf off because she has said that she's going to wear a paisley skirt. By the way, Farah did a wonderful tropey makeover because she took one
Hmm.
of, I guess, her dress or her mom's dress and took the sleeves off, cut it asymmetrical, and then voila, it's a halter dress. It's beautiful and makes her look like unrecognizable question mark because
Yeah.
like why
No, and a pair of sunglasses or whatever. I'm like, this is the worst disguise ever.
like
You're
he should have
also
known her immediately.
still 4'9" because you're in middle school.
Yeah.
Right. And saying she's a swimsuit model. And this man's talk about what's it like being a swimsuit model. This bitch like it's cold.
Eh,
Like I can't. And it's not till she laughs that he like goes, "Wait a minute." She says that she wants a sex on the beach, which reminded me, Jackie, of my 21st birthday. Jackie took me out
Hmm.
and like it was like my first time really drinking. And so
mm.
I think I had a sex with the alligator, a sex on the beach, a buttery nipple.
By the end of
Oh my
the
God.
night, she's talking to our taxi driver. And she's like, I had them nipples. They were buttery. I was like, Danielle, we have
Oh
to
my
get you to
gosh.
bed.
Oh my gosh. That's so funny. That is hilarious.
But I guess he finally figures out who that it's them. He knows that Hannah's not too far away, of course.
Mhm.
Hmm.
He scolds them, but then says, "Okay, I'll take a picture, show you because it's like the bartender peeped, I need your ID."
Yeah,
Nah.
no, he immediately was like, no.
And so the other girls head out because they got what they needed, and they tell Yancey and Farrah, like, your girls are in there with the teacher taking pictures, like wild stuff, and then they leave.
Yeah. But
This
then
Mhm.
the music cuts on, and we look over, and there is this tall, lanky, pixie cut blonde lady, white lady dancing up on top of a speaker. Oh, wait, it's Julie's mom.
Oh, yes.
I love that she
Miss Jane
immediately is
Lynch.
like, Dad would never like. She's thinking that her mom is doing something wrong, as if her mom doesn't tell her dad that like she's
Yeah.
going out
She's
for
going
a
to the
good time.
club.
She
Yeah.
wasn't grinding or on some man. She's just out there having let her freak fly, high and mighty.
There were
Yeah.
lots of elbows, lots of just like
A
wobbly
mess.
man dancing. But I mean, she's having a good time. Good on her. Mom needs a night out. But Julie leaves her scarf behind.
Like, is this fucking Cinderella? Like, give me a break.
Yes.
And her
Yeah.
mom is like, this is my scarf. I'm like, how do you know? Where'd you get that?
How-
JC Penney?
Right.
Like-
It's the most generic, like paisley scarf.
Yeah, it's not
This is mine.
embroidered or monogrammed or anything. It's just
Right.
like, I know this scarf.
Yancy meets that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Outside.
Yes, because Homegirl gave her the advice of this was actually great advice. If you don't be with guys that want salad or water, whatever she says, be with
Celery.
guys celery, be with guys that want Oreos or Twinkies or
Brownies.
whatever it was. Yes, and she meets that cute little what is he like? He's like a roadie or something. You're like,
He's-
works
Yeah.
for-
He reasonably looks like he is in her age range at least.
Yes.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. And we talked about the pizza thing, how the pizzas get delivered to the house.
Oh,
Does that count on that?
no.
No.
Yes, when Alexa Vega has to intercept the pizzas that she ordered, and so obviously the only logical thing for her brother and his dog to do is to like scarf them down in 2 seconds so nobody notices. I'm like, you could have left them in the girls' room all night probably, and nobody
Yeah.
would have noticed at all.
I never understood that because I'm like, those girls were not eating 4 pizzas by themselves.
No.
No, none of it ever made sense. Not a lot of the logisticals did not make sense after that. And what was the following little scavenger hunt thing that they went to after the?
I think it's
what
now
was the-
Steve's to go to Steve's
the-
house,
the-
right?
But first, mom's suspicious,
Oh, they have to go
and-
back to the house.
and Julie peeps that. So Julie has to run back to the house because mom's going to call and want to talk to Julie.
That's right. That's right. Yes. So mom called. Oh my God. Wait, I forgot about that part too. Yes. Yeah. Oh my God. This movie is a fever dream. As I'm like, I literally just watched it and I'm like, I'm forgetting all of these parts. Yes. So they have to try and run back. And this isn't when Steve sees her on the skateboard. Or is that a different time yet? When
he
it's
does
like
see
Yes.
her on the skateboard, but he doesn't get her. Like
doesn't-
because the car is boxed in, so now she has to skateboard back home.
Yes. That's what it was. And that's when he first is like, whoa, like who's that girl or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
because she says in the beginning too, something along the lines of like, he never notices me or he'll never see me or whatever. Which again, it's another, like, I'm like, how old is this man as well that you're lusting
But
after?
To her point, he legitimately, like, he is so close to her face in that one scene at the fountain and walks right, like, does not even
Does
flinch,
not even,
Yeah.
does not compute.
does not compute. No. Yes, no. And so they have to go now steal the underwear, right? And figure out how to get into, they break into his house.
Yes.
Yes.
Wild.
Wild. Also, like one thing that I would never do as a middle schooler, especially being a middle schooler, that it appears that they're kind of like at home kids chilling, they're not like rule breakers, would be to break into someone's house and
Yeah.
to try and steal their underwear, especially girls that I don't think they've even had their first kiss. It appears like that they have not. Breaking into someone's house to steal underwear is a wild, wild thing.
And then watch him get undressed. Like, Ken goes, oh, she saw the D.
It's so, and it like, yeah, I think what's so wild too is like they kind of not normalize it, but it was like that Y2K-esque sort of movie.
Yes.
It was very just like in the culture of that's just like a normal thing. Like, oh, like I want to get with my best friend's brother or like something like that, where
Yes.
it's like, ugh, no, I don't you not.
I do think it's kind of funny that when the mom is trying to call Julie, she has to use a payphone. It's just so like everyone the girls have cell phones in the movie, so I just thought it was weird the mom didn't have one
She
yet.
said she had no
Oh, yeah.
service in the club.
Oh, okay, that's what it is.
Okay.
But the girl from Spider-Man who plays
Yes, Ursula.
yes, she's
Ah,
at the payphone. So little fun cameo there.
And we have not talked about SpongeBob breaking into fucking Julie's house.
Oh my God. Oh yeah. That's what's like, I'm also like, is that what guys did that like to break into people's girls' houses to see their bras? I'm like, does that do like what
I
is
don't know if they broke into houses, but I know that like I've at some of our sleepovers, if like the guys knew the girls were having a sleepover, they would try to like come to the window or
That's
sneak
so
over.
funny and so silly. And I also like their lingo and the names that they use for these characters too. I'm like, it seems like it was written by an adult and
Yes.
like the way that they thought teenagers talked and thought, because I'm like, I remember being caught off guard by some of the lingo when I was younger, but like rewatching it, I'm like, it sounds like they're speaking a completely different language of like,
Yeah.
it's very bizarre. And even like SpongeBob or like some of the phrases they were using, I was like, this is so weirdly written.
Or when Julie calls Steve plush, I'm like,
Oh,
who the fuck says
Yeah.
that?
Is that what I wasn't sure if she said
Yes.
plush or posh. I was like, either way, it was very weird.
Ken literally goes plush, like a stuffed animal, like Build-A-Bear. I was like, I
Yeah.
guess we're watching the same thing at the same time, honey. I have no answers for you.
So funny.
And I wonder if it's in that same vein as like Mean Girls were like trying to make fetch happen and stuff. So I
Yeah.
think that
Yeah.
the thought was, oh, we'll just throw these random words in here and see if they stick type thing.
God.
Or they
Yeah.
won't age. Maybe that's
Yeah.
the other thing. Like,
Yeah, that's
it won't
true.
be stuck in this time period.
I know
so.
that's why Tina Fey used some of the phrases she did in Mean Girls because she didn't want to pigeonhole it in a certain time frame.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
So yeah, she's in the shower. Steve is getting undressed. And here's my question. What was Julie's plan? Because that man was ready to go into the shower.
Yes.
If Yancey's car trying to get charged didn't slam into the security guard's car.
Yeah.
Okay.
What would she have done?
She probably would have had to come clean. Like what you do, like I'd be like, sorry, the jig is up. This is everything that happened. This is why I made like what else? There's like no logical explanation other than the truth. I feel like at that point, like, yeah, I would maybe leave out the part of like, I have a huge crush on you. I'd just be like, we're on a scavenger hunt. Like you're popular. And this was one of the things. I'm so sorry. Like I shouldn't be here. Yeah. I
saw your penis. I'm really sorry.
I'm really sorry
now.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd sing like a canary.
Yancey's car, it's electric, so it runs out of charge. And so a random light pole has like a really high electrical outlet. And let me tell you, I immediately was like, oh, so we just have like a 110 charging this car because like anyone with an electric car knows, and I'm sure the tech was even worse in 2005, is you need like a whole like setup to charge your car. And if you have like a power converter, it takes like overnight to charge your car. And so I was just like, there's no way it's like a little standard grounded plug that's going to charge this car. And even if so, it's going to take hours. And I looked it up. It takes 4 hours to charge that hyper mini car with the actual like big giant plug. So I was like, this is all wrong. But then like the car went careening into Steve Carell's car. And I love, is it at this point? No, I think it's when he was on the bike. He calls his mom to pick him up.
Yeah. He's like done for the day. But he does catch Julie and the girls are trying to figure out like how they're gonna help. He calls Julie's house. I don't know why she gave him the right phone number. I would have been giving him I'd have given him some number, but it wouldn't have been mine.
No.
And luckily her brother answers the phone. And then I love that every time she calls him with something, he's like, you pay me $50 a month, or you have to do my laundry for like 3 months. So they're like negotiating.
They're negotiating.
Meanwhile, after SpongeBob breaks in and Dad goes to check on them, they cover for free and they're all just dressed up in wigs and dresses singing Spice Girls with their back to the door so that like they maintain the girls' cover.
Yeah, they honestly, there's again where I'm like, maybe you guys are sleeping on the guys that are actually worth going after, not these unobtainable.
Those boys were cute.
They were cute. They just wanted to be, they literally just wanted to be around the girls. They're like, what are we doing? There's a scavenger hunt? Oh, like we're in. Like they
let's
just
go
wanted to be part of
help.
the- Yeah.
And some of those in that group, some of those actors became like I saw them in other things, like they became bigger as well. I'm trying to figure out which one it is, but you
Yeah,
guys
there's one
continue.
of them that looks familiar. Yeah. Yes, but so she runs into the car, right? And this is when she has like the thought of like, oh my gosh, I can get the decal, right? Because they're about
Yes.
to, yeah. And so she goes and snags that very stealthily and then runs, which I feel like I feel like that's the kind of turning point for her character where she really like steps into this, like, I'm gonna be like the recluse, like I'm gonna like step outside of my like rules and stuff, and where she's like takes charge of the whole situation opposed
Yes.
to her friend. And especially because her friend is the one that seems to take charge and she's the one that's moving away. So it's kind of like nice to see like, okay, like she can hold her own while her friend's also not going to be there in the future, hopefully.
Yeah.
Oh, one of the kids, the guys in the group is his actor named Hunter Parrish.
Oh,
He was on Weeds, and then you also saw him in 17 again,
mm-hmm.
and he was one of the kids in It's Complicated. So
Mm.
I was like, oh, I
He's
know
been
I've
in a
seen him.
lot.
He's been in
Yeah.
a lot of stuff. Like there's
Yeah.
a ton.
That name was pretty in like 10 to 2014. I would hear that name a lot, I feel like.
Yeah. So
Um,
now it's a race to the dance. Sorry.
yes. And then because the other girl group has figured out that they're tied now. And
Mm-hmm.
so now we need a tiebreaker. We're at the dance. Steve has somehow made it to the dance with his group. And it seems like he's a nice guy. Like there's another girl that was like, can you like talking to Steve's friend is like, hey, can you see if he'll dance with me? And so like Steve's dancing with her. And so Julie walks
That's
in.
Courtney Draper. She used to be on that show, the Jersey,
Oh
that
my God.
Disney
Yes. That
Channel show.
Disney. Mm-hmm. That
Sorry.
was,
You're good.
She
yeah.
was in a lot of things, and I just like she was in a lot of Disney Channel stuff. Go ahead.
Makes
Continue.
sense.
Sorry.
No, you're good. And so, and then we also see the other girl group with Liz and Stacy. And then we see Stacy's ex-boyfriend making out with a girl who they find out, or she finds out, like he's been dating her for 6 months. And so he was
Hence why
two-timing on these girls.
he didn't want to bring Stacy to the dance.
Yeah.
And
Right. Would also say I would argue with Stacy was probably just a side piece. If you're an eighth
yes,
grader, he was probably like, let me see if I can get this eighth grader to hook up with me. If
Yes.
no, okay, bye, deuces. Yeah.
I also think that the other girl should have been more mad. Like it's her and Stacy get in a fight. But like the moment I find out you've been trying to date an eighth grader, I would have punched you in the face. But she instead is fighting Stacy
Yes.
about the dude. And I was like, what are we doing?
Yeah, yeah.
He's not, he's 30 years old.
He's
y'all.
30 years old. He could be your father.
And so now there's a dance off that they need to win. And SpongeBob comes and like defends Stacy's honor, and Stacy's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'm gonna dance with SpongeBob over here. And the 50-year-old and his high school girlfriend are like, we're gonna win the dance. The way they are dancing.
Nobody is winning this dance. The only one that had some kind of rhythm was Alexa Vega.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was bad in them streets.
It was horrible, horrible.
And I will say, I love this movie down and I look away, I don't think about it, but there was not a black person on that set.
No, there was.
Not
Oh
even
my
in the
God.
background, not even a speck, which is wild because even back then they used to at least have someone in the background.
Yeah, that
Nothing.
actually is wild. There was not like, I mean, obviously not one of the girls in the friend group. That would be way too obvious. But like, yeah, not a friend, not a
Nothing.
student, not a teacher, not a anything. No, that's pretty wild.
Nothing.
Yeah.
But
So
SpongeBob and Stacy win the dance competition. And so
how?
who knows? They were better than an old man and his girlfriend, though. That's for damn sure.
That's for sure.
She
And
was doing the Elaine dance at one point.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And then Stacy's like, ha, I got the crown. I'm going to win. And then they're like,
Oh,
this is just the dance portion of this competition. There's no crown awarded yet. we have to wait and see who's crowned king and queen of this random dance or whatever it is. And so Steve ends up winning that, spots good old Julie in the
Julie
crowd.
Corky.
He's looking for her. So he's been talking about Julie this whole time with his friend, who, by the way, his friend is so jealous because all the girls want to talk to him and like whatever. But when he gets on stage, he's like, he's literally looking for Julie. She is actually on stage left or whatever, I guess. And he actually calls her name. And I love this scene because she's like, oh, that was real.
Yeah, no. Yeah, that I love that line. That was real. Yeah, Julie Corky. Like just yeah. That's like a fanfic moment that like you did not ever see happening and coming to real life for sure.
And so she goes on stage with him and they both get crowns. Somehow she gets a crown. I don't know.
No, he puts
Oh,
his
okay.
crown on her, which that has to be the most unique crown I've ever seen in any
I
TV
loved
movie.
it.
Yeah, it's very cool. I just was like, what is that made out of?
What is that made of?
It's a paper crown that's holographic.
I feel like it was stronger than paper because when Julie drops it out of the car and Sherman hits his bike on it, it doesn't just roll over. It
you're
like
right.
stops his
Yeah,
bike. So it has to be
yeah.
some
Is it
sort of
metal?
It's gotta be.
Probably.
So they have their dance moment. But before that, Yancey has her dance moment because the boy she met at the who likes brownies, I guess he said he worked for his uncle or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
And so he was able to make call out Yancey and dance with her. And I was like, go ahead, get your man, Yancey.
Get your
You
man,
get it.
Nancy. She deserves that.
But right before Steve and Julie have their kiss moment, they realize what time it is and she's got to run the hell out before her mom comes home because her brother calls and she has to answer the phone. And he's like, you better bring your ass home. So they leave and she's like, I didn't get the kiss. I would have made time to make that kiss. I'm sorry.
It's like Cinderella. It's like the whole,
Yeah.
oh, we have to be back before whatever time. And yeah, it's very Cinderella-esque.
And so Julie has to sneak back in because Mama's already home. And so the other girls, this is what happens. I remember. They climb into this old, rickety, should have never allowed children to play in clubhouse.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's shaped like a tree house, but it's like on stilts instead of like bolted
Attached to
into
a
a
tree.
tree. And so as they climb up it, but they still have to get into Julie's room. First off, Ren just has superpowers to like hold this giant ass rope tight enough for the girl
Right.
to shimmy across. And then
Super strength.
yeah, exactly. And I'm like, there's no way, like he didn't even tie it to anything. He just holding it after eating all the pizza. Like, and then the whole structure just slowly
Mhm.
leans. And so all the girls that are still in the clubhouse just walk right into Julie's room. But now Julie is on the ground because she was on the rope and she has to sneak in. And as Mom's walking in the front door, there's like a side door right next to it. And Julie like walks into that. And as Mom goes into the kitchen and like they're having that conversation of like, oh, did you have a good time at the club? Yeah, thanks for letting me have a girls' night, whatever. Julie has to like sneak by them and sneak upstairs and she's like, Mom's coming. Everyone pretend like you're asleep and say they all like flop on the floor and like pull sleeping
My
bags.
mom always knows when I'm really sleeping. I would have never been able to get away
Yeah.
with that.
That's so funny.
But they do. They get away with it. Next morning, pancakes, breakfast. They had the time of their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mom is interrogating Julie, which I feel like you could have waited till my friends left. at
Yeah.
least.
Right. And
Like,
whipped
we're
out the
just-
scarf.
Dishing up
Yeah.
eggs. Like, you don't have to ask me right now. Yeah, and so Mom asked Julie, like, hey, did you actually go out? Scarfy scarf. And Julie, like,
She's
admits,
honest.
yeah, she admits to going out, but she's also like, hey, you have to stop treating me like a kid. I'm not a kid anymore. I'm going into high school, and you kind of have to come to terms with that. And so mom,
And trust me.
yeah. And so mom lets her go to Hawaii. And then all of
And
the
gives her
friends,
a lock for her door finally.
yes. Yeah,
Yes,
because
that's a big step.
the whole first act is just Julie saying that she needs a lock for her door because people just bust in all the time.
My
Yeah.
mom would have told me to go to hell.
I mean, you could have a lock and your parents could still have a key for
Right.
emergencies. Like, and then her friends leave as Farrah's mom was pulling out. I was like, "Hey, honey, is that an all road?" And he goes, "Yeah, sure it is." So I clocked the car the mom was driving.
Mhm.
Okay.
I was grasping at straws with this movie, Danielle, and all I had was RO and the few car facts that I had. And then Julie has to say goodbye to Hannah because she has to go home, finish packing, and it seems like they're moving like that day or the next. So they say their goodbyes. And then Julie goes back up to her room and she notices that the crown is hung on a nail on the clubhouse that's leaning up against her house. And Steve's inside. So then she gets her first real kiss.
How did
So
he know
cute.
that was her room?
Creep.
Like, why would he think I'm going to climb this misshapen thing that's dangerous?
How
Very
And
long
true.
has he been there?
right.
Right. He's been scoping it out. But to be fair, her room, it was a very stereotypical, like very
It
girly,
was.
girly room, like bright colors. So if I was guessing, I'd be like, probably that one.
Yeah.
You know, between her and like her parents and her brother, it's probably that one.
Yeah. I think that's it.
Great ending to a phenomenal early 2000s movie.
That is Sleepover.
And it was wonderful the whole way through.
I'm glad
Start to
you
finish.
enjoyed it.
Okay. Amber Tamblyn turned down the role of Farrah. I guess
Okay.
she was waiting for Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, better role.
Yeah.
I remember this. Eileen Boylan lost her role on General Hospital due to filming conflict. I remember when I saw the movie, I was just like, why does she look so familiar? And she was on General Hospital for a little bit. I didn't know why she left, but now I see. Learned something new.
And this was the film debut of Hunter Parrish and Alice Greskin.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And Skylar Shea turned down the role of Stacy. She was in the Bratz movie. I was like trying to figure out.
Oh,
She's
okay.
the blonde from that movie.
Gotcha.
I did like the music in this movie.
Music was, yeah, I feel like it's hard to go wrong with early 2000s movies and music because all the music was like bangers back then. So regardless what genre, I feel like it's always going to slap. Even because they had like pop, but then also like the freeze frame songs, which was like kind of like more rock and stuff. It was
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
And Alistair playing at the prom.
Yes, yes, yes.
Typical pop punk cameo. So it was primarily filmed in Long Beach, specifically at Long Beach Polytech High School, and then also at the Del Amo Mall in Torrance.
Yeah. I do think they filmed some stuff in Universal Studio, the studios there. Or I don't know if maybe they just went to Universal Studios after that sleepover they had at the Hilton or something. I thought this was interesting to promote the movie before its premiere. They had the world's largest sleepover simultaneously with partnership with Milton Bradley in Minneapolis, Atlanta, Boston, Chicago, Dallas, and multiple cities, like 21 cities. They had this sleepover, and I think to premiere to like watch the movie.
That's really
And
cool.
Milton Bradley was doing this in coordination because they were releasing a new game called Cover to Cover, which I've never heard of. So apparently the game is a scavenger hunt game for teen and preteen girls where the players get to choose a magazine and hit the flip button on the game guide to find out which category to play. So if you guys have heard this movie, tell us because that's a new one. And I thought I knew pretty much all the fun little sleepover games that came out.
Yeah, that sounds like it would have been fun.
Yeah.
Yancey's electric car is a Nissan Hyper Mini.
Right?
Yes, yes,
Crazy.
that's if you two want Yancey, the name Yancey too has pissed me off since the day I saw this movie. I
Same.
will say, I'm
Why?
like, you couldn't just
Why?
say Nancy. Like, literally, why? What was the reason? It makes when people are like, when studios make names. I mean, this one's not hard to remember, but it's not the normal one. I'm like, just make something easy. Julie, easy to remember. It's like
Yeah.
movies like Lilo and Stitch, easy to remember. I'm like, this
Right.
is one, if you have to like pry for your brain for like, it's almost like when you hear a super catchy song in a musical and you're like, oh yeah, remember that song? It's like, remember this person's name? No, because it was
No.
very
Because
forgettable. Yeah.
why not Nancy?
Because why
What
not
the fuck
Nancy?
is a Yancey? They did this girl dirty from the get-go.
From
You
the
Yes.
wrote
get-go.
you wrote this character. You wrote her to be ridiculed and punished. So like to write a fat phobic character and then make a child have to play said character and that literally anything that they could have been feeling on their own and now on screen then you have these girls ridiculing you in the movie, in the script, and calling you fat. Like it's
Not
It's
upset.
it's the heavyweights
yeah.
discussion
Mhm.
all over again. Like you're giving these kids that already feel probably very uncomfortable in their own skin even more of a complex, but now you're showing it to millions of people worldwide.
And
Yeah.
instead of other girls seeing this character and feeling seen,
Yeah.
they're feeling seen in a whole other way. And then the erasure of this character. Look through the
Yes.
pictures of the
Oh, she's
promos.
not, yeah.
Deleted. She is not on the cover of the pink cover. There
Yeah.
is another cover where, or like poster where it's the Polaroid camera
Mhm.
pictures and everybody's on that one, but all
Oh,
the promo pictures.
we forgot to talk about the whole like scene where Fair is just an asshole for no reason. Is like, by the way, Julie was only allowed to have 3 friends, and when Stacy bowed out, Julie felt bad for you and just invited you. Why even say shit?
Shit
But
friend, shit friend.
I honestly think she made a mistake by saying, because she didn't start it like that. She was like, oh, isn't it great that Stacy couldn't come?
Mm.
So, like, it was really fucked up of her to do it, but I really don't think she was purposely doing it.
It
And I
wasn't
don't even
intentional.
think it was necessary. And Yancey,
No.
why, like, it sucked, but also Yancey's like, okay, well, it's not like it doesn't seem from what we saw that these girls were friends with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It just looked like they were being nice to her, and I think Yancey was like, great, but it still not doesn't feel good that you're a replacement of somebody else.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Professional skateboarder Amy Karen was flown in to teach Alexa her skateboarding tricks, which she was able to perform most of her stunts while Sean wasn't able to perform his.
Ha ha
well,
ha.
his was the one over the fountain, and
Got
the
it.
studio was never going to let him do such a crazy stunt. I think the one that Amy did for Alexa was the one where she jumped over the dog on the
Mm.
Okay.
skateboard.
That makes sense. Skateboarding is really hard. Like I feel
It
like even
Yeah.
people
really is.
who've been doing it for years, it's just like it's such a tricky and super easy to get injured.
Yes.
And lastly, this was Alexa's first on-screen kiss.
She said
Oh,
that Steve was very professional
Oh,
and a
that's nice.
gentleman with the kiss. So,
that's good. That's good.
yeah.
Treat our spy kid well.
Yes.
Well, before we get into our ratings, Gabby, again, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you on
Yes.
social?
So, hey, on social, you can find me at Gabi Whiting, GabiWhiting, on all platforms on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Snapchat, all those things.
And if you have questions, if you want to praise this movie, if you want to ridicule this movie, hit us up at No More Late Fees on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube Threads, and Blue Sky. And Gabby, I'm going to start with you. What is your present day rating as an adult with fresh eyes rewatching this movie?
rewatching it, I was like, it almost was like it went through the Mandela effect. And I'm like, this is a different film. It's not the same. The lingo and everything, there's a lot of plot holes. Also just like the toxic plot, like there's some of it where I'm like, okay, I can kind of like The Office, where some jokes I'm like, okay, it was the time period, but then some things I'm like, this is like a lot of things. I think if I had never seen it as a kid, I would put this on and be like, what the hell is this? But it does still have a little bit of the nostalgic factor, and watching it is just like okay, this is a really cheesy early 2000s rom-com, like teeny bopper movie. I'm like, it is what it is. I'd give it a 2-day, or I'd give it a 2-day. I'd give it a 2-day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Jackie, now that you've seen it,
it's a one and done for me, baby. It is
Same
a
day?
same day rental.
yes. Okay. That's fine. Well, after rewatching, I get it. It's still a would buy.
I didn't doubt for a second. The
I
fact
don't
that
care.
Prime was like, do you want me to start this from the beginning, Danielle? We knew. It's fine. And you can say that, like, we all love what we love, and that's okay.
And this is my birthday movie because
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
Yes.
Happy birthday to you.
Yes.
I would say your gift from me is watching Sleepover, but that's not true. So
I could have many gifts.
yes. So if you have opinions on Sleepover or any movies you want to share that were your personal sleepover movies growing up, hit us up at our quick drop 909-601-6653. Twat us at the Twitters, hem us at the threads, butterfly in the sky at Blue Sky, and you can be featured on a future episode.
Who's ready for a hot girl summer? We're kicking things off with Bad Boys next week, so don't miss it. It's a very fun one.
Oh, Will Smith and that wife beater and silk shirt. Can't wait. And Gabby, it was so much fun. Thank you for joining our birthday sleepover for Danielle and reminiscing about this bonkers movie with us. And we hope that you'll be back on with us.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank you guys so much for having me on. This was so fun, and I can't think of a better movie that I would want to talk about.
Yay. And as always, be kind and rewind.